My amplified unit, we got some bonus BC coming at you. Some bonus amplification. Just a few hours ago, we put up the initial upload for the day, the Amped Up podcast for Wednesday, September 27, 2023. That was a few hours ago. We covered so many subjects. Jade Cargill has finally spoken out as to why she chose WWE over AEW and how much influence Cody Rhodes had on her decision. And I'll give you a little tease here. It was a lot. So check that out. We also talked Tony Khan. Wait till you hear what he said about the next TV rights deal for AEW. And I cannot believe he said this. At this point, Warner Discovery has a massive smile on their face because they're about to rob Tony Khan. And maybe Daddy Khan. Absolutely riveting what Tony Khan said, man. You cannot do that. It's business 101. Again, catch the podcast. You'll know what I'm talking about. We talk so many other things. WWE just lost a bunch more money in the stock market. Wait till you hear where they're at now. We talk the ratings for Raw and Collision. So much is discussed. We put it up a few hours ago. Check it out. Now, in this bonus amplification, we are going to talk some fun topics like Randy Orton. You guys hear what happened at the volleyball game recently, right in front of Randy Orton. Oh, if you didn't hear about it, we're going to talk about it. It's funny. It popped BC. Absolute LOL moment. Right in front of Randy Orton. Beautifully played, boys. Beautifully played. We'll talk about that. We'll talk, unfortunately, man, Hulk Hogan just got married. That's the upside of things. The downside, his daughter, Brooke Hogan, out of nowhere, just wants nothing to do with the Hulkster. You never like to see that. Brooke actually left a statement. We'll go over that. We're going to talk Kenny Omega. Speaking of statements, he has words for AEW fans that are not happy for Jade Cargill going to the competition. And Kenny Omega, man, he was harsh. He's always harsh with his own fans, I've noticed, especially AEW fans, man. But, man, I think he called him embarrassing and shameful. We're going to talk about Kenny Omega coming up and his words on people that are not happy for Jade Cargill. And we're also going to talk Malachi Black's words. Malachi questioning his booking in AEW yet again. Not angrily, he's just trying to clarify some things up. But in his statement, he admits he doesn't know why he's being booked a certain way. We'll talk about it. We'll go over the exact quote, and we'll have some discussion on it. And, of course, one of the main stories is if LA Knight cannot go next Saturday night because he's supposed to be the partner of Cena, who does WWE go with? Now, I know some of the names you're thinking, and we're going to go over them. However, I'm going to ask that you don't get your hopes up because BC is hearing that there is one individual that is locked in to be the Audible. And as much as we respect this dude, and we want to see the best for him, especially booking-wise, BC is going to explain exactly why this is not the best Audible if you cannot do LA Knight next Saturday night. But we'll talk about who it is and why BC feels there's got to be a better surprise if you can't get LA Knight. That's the operative thing here. It all hinges on if LA Knight can perform next Saturday. So if you don't mind, BC's going to get a couple swigs of his coffee, which I don't even know. I don't know why it's over there. I'm going to get a couple swigs of my coffee. You guys are going to lock in those earbuds. Hopefully you have a beverage of your own, maybe in both your hands. The earbuds are locked in. You're smashing that up. It should have already been smashed. We're over 4 minutes into the cold open teaser. It should have already been smashed. And let's get amplified. Oh, man. Jade Cargill is already calling out Bianca Belair, man. She's talking about a WrestleMania moment. Could it be? Now, you know that's one of those matches. When you hear Cargill is officially signed with WWE, you know one of the main matches. You're thinking Bianca, man. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill says, and I quote, I came here to face the very best in the world. Iron sharpens iron. Bianca Belair, what we could create together. Man, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. All you got to do, Levesque McMahon, is book it. And put some creativity behind it, if you don't mind, right? Not just the match that we should be looking forward to. We should enjoy the whole journey. The whole ride to get to that match, which probably should be at WrestleMania. When I think Jade Cargill, there's a lot of matches that are going to be must-see. Anyway, I just saw that, man. That's interesting. She's already talking Bianca Belair, and you know this company. Once something starts a-buzzing, they go for it. Tiffany Stratton accidentally name-bombed Becky Lynch a few weeks ago on NXT TV. Accidentally just said that Becky Lynch won the NXT Women's Championship at some point. That's all she said. Everybody started destroying her on social, so an hour later on live TV, she said, okay, I understand, I screwed up. Becky never won the title, but who cares? She's not worth my time anyway. And it created this whole thing. And the next day, WWE was like, well, wait, what if we send Becky to NXT and actually take Tiffany's title? Within 2 weeks, Becky was winning the championship. And Tiffany's like, damn, had I not made that mistake, I'd still be champion. Anyway, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. Listen, I'll take the what many would think the smaller man. I take Asuka and Jade Cargill, man. That's going to be fun. Rhea Ripley, whenever she wrestles, Rhea and Cargill. There's a lot of good matchups we can be looking forward to. Anyway, I want to get into the main topic right now, man. Speaking of whenever they're going to wrestle next, LA Knight. Yeah. As of now, and this has been the plan, LA Knight is supposed to be the tag team partner for Jonathan Cena at Fastlane to take on Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. We're hearing it was never supposed to be Styles. Styles was supposed to do the angle that he did Friday, and LA Knight was supposed to show up at the end of the show to save John Cena from the beating of the bloodline, minus a Roman Reigns, of course. And unfortunately, the Co-19 took LA Knight out. We, including WWE, has no word on when Knight is going to be able to return. Sometime this thing can clear itself up in a few days, sometimes a few weeks. Well, the problem with that is next Saturday is Fastlane. So there's no guarantees. As of now, we're still hearing they're penciled in, locked in, stenciled in, crayoned in, sharpied in LA Knight. LA Knight is still supposed to be the partner for John Cena. But there is a backup from what we are hearing. Now, this is where you start to come up with the names, right? Batista, he said he's willing to come back. He's got to hear out the phone call from Paul Levesque McMahon. What do you have for him? Does it make sense? But Batista said he's got all the time right now, of course, because of the strike in Hollywood. Just that's the same reason John Cena committed to 2 full months of WWE. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, just made time to come back in Denver, Colorado, of all places. And Batista is now saying he's ready to come back. So a lot of people are thinking, all right, Batista has a match, right? A fill-in. It's a tag match. He doesn't have to do too much. No harm, no foul. Other people are saying Randy Orton, right? Randy Orton. And did you guys see, real quick, did you guys see the funny... what was it? It was like I don't know what. Maybe it was on a social media platform. I don't know. I just saw the clip on it. But this was going viral of 2 students at a volleyball game. Randy Orton was in attendance. It was a high school volleyball game, I believe. Definitely high school. I believe the sport was volleyball. I don't know if it was women's or men's. I guess it was one of Orton's kids. Of course, he married into a bunch of kids, I believe, with his wife, who already had her kids through another marriage or with another dude. And Randy is now, I mean, you got to respect that, right? He treats them like as if they're his own. And he goes to games and he does this, that, and the other. Now, it could have been somebody else that Randy knows. I don't know. But I'm assuming it's one of his own kids through his new marriage. So he's there supporting. He's in the stands. And these 2 kids, they come down through the stands. They go right in front of Randy. And Randy's like trying to search for his phone in the stands. And you can hear one of them go, Randy! Randy! And when Randy looks up, one of the kids pulls the other kid back by his shoulder. The kid turns around. Boom! He's hit with an RKO. And all of a sudden, he goes for the pin. Another kid, a third kid, comes out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3, calls for the bell. This is all like during a break during the game. And Randy Orton is right there in the stands. And the camera shows Orton, and he just starts laughing. He's like, all right, that was a good one. That was good. Anyway, man, definitely an LOL moment there, man. That popped BC. Pretty funny. So that was making its rounds recently. I ended up catching that somehow. I don't even know where. But funny, man. Good to see Randy Orton looking good. Goes with the reports we're hearing. He was at Mania. Just didn't showcase him, obviously. We're hearing his return is imminent. But again, with a back injury, you don't want to come back too soon. And sometimes 2-3 years could be too soon. Because one tweak, that's it. That's your career. So there's no rush, obviously. Without Scooter McGee, Scooter Stevenson, Flip-Flops Flanagan, Nail Polish Nelson, Matt Riddle, without him, with him out of the equation, we can get possibly, can we get the Viper back, the Legend Killer? Man, if we can get that Randy Orton back, business just picked up, to quote Jim Ross. So anyway, back to the original point, all right? So you have people talking, maybe it's Batista to tag up with John Cena if LA Knight cannot go next Saturday night Fastlane. Then you have people going, if not Batista, Randy Orton, right? Even from this vid that was circulating, and people are going, oh, he looks good. Randy Orton's ready to come back, man. People saying maybe Randy Orton. No matter what name you come up with, it's probably wrong. And that's because BC is hearing who the backup is. This is literally, it's from what I was told, 99.99% sure that this person will be the backup. And it's AJ Styles. If LA Knight cannot do this match next Saturday, because he is right now sharpied in. But if he cannot, it's going to be AJ Styles. Two things. Number one, we all, or at least most of us, love AJ Styles. We want the best for him. We want the best booking. I've been saying for 2 years, what are you doing with Styles? Just because he's a little older doesn't mean he's over the hill. The dude is still one of the best wrestlers today. And I'm talking about not just skill set, in terms of believability. He can put storylines on his back. You just believe it. Every now and again, you just get an individual that doesn't even have to be that great on the microphone. Doesn't have to be the biggest person in size. He's just believable. Everything he does, you just a sense of realism. You just get behind it. Even if you don't want to be, you get captivated. You get sucked in by it because the dude is so good. That's AJ Styles. So, of course, we want the best for him. For 2 years, I've been saying, what are you doing having him hold the hand of Omos? Here we go with the OC again, in obscurity. Always just doing these weird things the last couple of years. It's almost just an afterthought, and that's being generous. So I want the best for the dude, as most of us do, but when you see him getting written off last week, that's the perfect write-off to put a special surprise into this match. LA Knight would be the bare minimum, actually. And you know how high I am on LA Knight. But we were all expecting his music to play Friday night, right? Come to find out, he got hit by the COVID-19. He's not even in the arena, told to go home. Come back when you're good. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But we were all expecting LA Knight's music, unless you were there in the arena. For some reason, they were chanting for The Rock. The Rock was never going to show up. That was odd. The Rock's not just going to show up every single week now, just because you got a treat in Denver. But anyway, we were expecting LA Knight's music to play and it never hit. We find out he's got the COVID-19, but he is scheduled for Fastlane. So it's like, all right, that's the right thing to have happened. And the way you wrote off AJ Styles, believable, right? Styles was in this little feud, and because of the way he was taken out, it just went to another amplified level with John Cena. And now the surprise has to be a surprise, or at least something pretty damn fun. LA Knight, the way he's captivating crowds and the responses he's getting, you can't go any lower than that. I'm not saying you got to bring in a Randy Orton or a Batista for this one tag match. But to go to AJ Styles, man, if you guys tell me that we're watching Fastlane on a Saturday night, we're all waiting for who John Cena's partner is going to be. We know it ain't LA Knight because we found out maybe ahead of time that maybe the Co-19, it just wasn't cleared up in time. And for some reason, he can't wrestle next Saturday. So we're all anticipating this big surprise, man. Who's it going to be? Who's John's partner? And AJ Styles comes down the ramp. Again, as much as we love AJ Styles, whoa, man, that's the surprise. The guy that a lot of people thought was just going to be in the tag match anyway, if you didn't know the know and know it was going to be LA Knight. The way they were going because of the feud with Jimmy Uso. Oh, AJ Styles and John Cena, they're going to have a tag match last Friday against Jimmy and Solo. Maybe on a SmackDown you can have that tag match, but at a pay-per-view, premium live event, AJ Styles, just to return from this beatdown injury that took him to the hospital, to have him come back 2 weeks later to compete in this match as the alternate. I don't know if that's going to be too fun, man. And that's with the utmost respect to AJ Styles. Man, that's not a surprise. I guess you can make it a surprise. Whoa, he's out of the hospital, or his beating was not as severe as they originally said. He's wrestling 2 weeks later. Imagine that. In what other world than pro wrestling? But that's what we're hearing, guys. If LA Knight can't go, they're not gonna move any mountains. They're not gonna try anything outside the box. They're not going to go to any other distant lengths or measures. They're just going to have AJ Styles come back from this write-off injury and just compete with John Cena in this tag match. I just think that's underwhelming. I really hope they reconsider. There's still a week left. Week in a couple days. They can call an audible, man. I'm not saying you got to call a Randy or call a Batista or anything like that, but you can call an audible. Because if we're all waiting on pins and needles, man, and they do that long pause before they introduce Cena's partner and it's AJ Styles, bro, I don't know how excited you think I'm going to be. Whoa, he's back from injury! Jimmy and Solo versus John Cena and Styles. I'm so thankful we all paid money for this. I don't care if it's only $10 a month now on a streaming service or if it's $50 at a actual pay-per-view. I'm so glad we paid money to see a match that should be on SmackDown. At least LA Knight, man, every time he's out there, the crowd, it's electric. There's a different vibe. You're seeing this dude ascend. If you ain't got LA Knight, I hope you got something more special planned. You would hope. But from what BC is hearing, don't get your hopes up yet. It's supposed to be AJ Styles if Knight cannot go. There you go. Also, if I could switch over to AEW, man, a couple of things here. Number one, let's talk Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, man, he's slamming fans, and mostly these are AEW fans, his own fans. I'm guessing, right? Because those are the ones that are most harsh on Jade Cargill going over to WWE, jumping ship. Why, Jade? Why? Right? And AEW fans are really like, I don't know if they're so much upset as they are just like kind of just unloading on poor Jade Cargill. But Kenny Omega is the white knight in shining armor. Don't worry, Jade. I got this. Listen to Kenny Omega. In all seriousness, gotta have some fun with this. Kenny Omega says, and I quote, "This may be news to a lot of fans out there. But when one wrestler goes from one company to another, we tend to always wish them the best and cheer for them while they embark on their new journey. Genuinely. It's embarrassing and shameful that some fans are not capable of the same." Omega calling fans embarrassing and shameful, bro. Again, most of these people are AEW diehard tried and trues that are not happy Jade jumped ship. So they're saying things like, well, you couldn't wrestle anyway. You're green and you ain't ever going to be anything but green. Go! We don't want you anyway. right? I mean, they're hard on Jade Cargill the last 2 days. But as I said in the podcast that we put up just earlier today, a few hours ago, I put up a podcast. Today's amped up full length podcast. This is just a bonus. Little bit of bonus, BC, bonus amplification. But the full-length podcast that was put up a few hours ago, I told you guys that even in AEW, Jade Cargill took a lot of heat from the fans. The fans never really... Let's just put it this way. Jade Cargill, as I've said a bunch of times over the last 2 days, Jade Cargill fits better in WWE. She just does. You look at her, you pretty much know that. And AEW fans like to go to her wrestling skills. Her wrestling skills is not why Tony Khan was booking her like a Goldberg. Let's just put it that way. And as I said earlier in that podcast that we put up just a few hours ago, I said not every wrestler needs to put on 7-star bangers and clangers for you guys. In fact, the top stars, any era you think of, they're not high flyers or sequence for sequence banger 7-star match type individuals. They're not. It's Hulk Hogan. It's Ultimate Warrior. It's Steve Austin. It's The Rock. It's John Cena, Mr. 5 Moves of Doom, to Roman Reigns, who people have fun and call him 3 Moves of Doom. The Superman Punch, the Drive-By, and the Spear. But they all have one thing in common. They're the most over dudes. You can love the Vikingos and the Omegas and the Ricochets and the Alis. And you can yell, "Fight forever! This is awesome!" You can give them 6, 7, 10 stars. You can do all of it. Their merchandise is not pushing. It's not. I see the numbers. The numbers the next day, right? Because if it's so awesome, if it's fight forever, if you're giving it 7 to 10 stars, man, you're going to watch that over and over, aren't you? No, the numbers show that not that many people are watching these things over and over. Not many at all. But then you look at Ultimate Warrior matches, who's considered one of the worst wrestlers of all time, and you see the views that this dude got on his matches. The amount of people that went back still to this day, BC one of them. It's captivating. Captivating. Steve Austin, Stone Cold, Lou Thez Press, Stunner, flipped you off, drank some beers, that was it. Called it a day and you loved it. You gladly pay your money for it. Steve Austin wasn't doing moonsaults. The Rock wasn't falling 20 feet into a flaming table. You were not seeing John Cena do a Canadian Destroyer from the top rope to the outside to Batista. Batista wasn't doing a suicide dive. The Ultimate Warrior wasn't doing a 450 splash, and Hulk Hogan was not doing a hurricanrana from the top rope through the commentary table. You weren't seeing any of that. But they're the top stars, the biggest merchandise numbers pushed, the most highly viewed segments, and still to this day with statistics and numbers, these are the top guys always. Roman Reigns to this day. Bray Wyatt. If not Roman Reigns, it was Bray Wyatt that was pulling in the highest rated segments for WWE. Pretty sure Bray Wyatt is not getting Fight Forever and 7-star matches from Meltzy and such. Pretty sure. But those are the ones that captivate the most. So we talked about that, right? Jade Cargill does not have to be somebody who's going to give you a 20-minute banger and clanger so that hopefully Meltzy will give her more than 3 or 4 stars. And that you guys can chant and never watch the match again because you're already on to the next. That's not captivating. Jade Cargill is going to produce moments and memories to last a lifetime. She's that type of individual with that type of presence alone, aura. You book her properly like the beast that she is, she'll do the rest. But a lot of fans, they're not happy that she went to WWE. I understand that. There's a tribalism out there, and when somebody jumps ship, the fan base that was where they're jumping from, they're not happy. So Omega is slamming those, and I mean slamming, man. This may be news to a lot of fans out there, but when one wrestler goes from one company to another, we tend to always wish them the best and cheer for them while they embark on their new journey genuinely. It's embarrassing and shameful that some fans aren't capable of the same. This is not the first time that Kenny Omega has has went back and forth with his own fans, though. He has a history of doing this, obviously, and there's a lot of fans that just don't like the elite that are within the AEW tried and true base. Especially with the Punk thing. There was actually like a separation when there was Punk fans versus the elite and vice versa. So this is not the first time that Kenny Omega has went back and forth with his own fan base, but now he's actually saying it's embarrassing and shameful that you can't be happy for Jade Cargill. I'm not saying the dude's wrong, but I don't know about slamming your own fan base. And most of the people that are slamming Jade Cargill are AEW fans. So I got to question, when Kenny Omega decides to say something on his social, I just have to question, is it the best option to just go at your own fans? I don't know what that's really doing in the long run, even if you're playing a heel character, because you're breaking down the fourth wall and talking about Jade going to another company. I don't know, man. Maybe there's better ways to go about it, but... And he's the one who questioned Cody Rhodes going too. You guys remember his statements on Cody. You know, he was genuinely shocked and he couldn't understand how that could happen. Where's the genuine happiness? Now he says he's happier. And right now his tone changed a lot since those original comments. I don't know. I like Kenny Omega, by the way. You guys know that. I just question a lot of the times that when he does decide to speak up, it's always some questionable words. Sticking with AEW, Malakai Black is questioning his booking. Not angrily this time. This is not the first time he questioned his booking. Not just in WWE, but also in AEW. You guys remember he was not so happy with AEW about, a year ago-ish? Maybe a little more. And now he's been away for about a month now, right? Ever since Wembley. I think it was all in Wembley, August 27th. Yes, all in the 27th. That was the last time you saw Malakai. So he addressed his absence recently. I believe this was on one of his social doohickey machines. And Malakai says, and I quote, "Something that I want to quickly address. And I understand this is always done from a perspective of caring. So before I say anything, I appreciate the fact that people care and that it comes from a good place. About a year ago, I made a video about rehabbing a back injury that I had. The video shows the process, and I talked about overcoming that injury, strengthening my back, etc. After the video was posted, people started running with this idea that, he's got a bad back, therefore A, B, or C, which is not the case at all. And for some reason, that has found its way back and again is the narrative. Well, he's not had a singles match, etc., because he has a bad back. He nearly retired because he has a bad back. None of these things are true. Why am I not having singles matches? I don't know. I think it's because they want House of Black to do 6-man tags. I was not in 6-man tags to hide said non-existing injury. Rest assured, I do not have a bad back, and the reason I am home right now is because, due to a minor injury. I had a slight calf tear and a hyperextension in my knee, which is almost nursed back and almost ready to go back on the road, etc. Again, I appreciate the concern, but the reality is I'm fine, and you will see me sooner rather than later, but again, I appreciate the concern. Now, you know where BC's focusing on, like many of you when I just read those 4 or 5 paragraphs. Hold on now. He says, because he's getting a lot of questions, why are you never in singles action, dude? You're a bona fide star. We were all saying, man, once you leave WWE, Tony Khan's going to do something special with you. You are a star, a main eventer, and Tony Khan doesn't know what to do with this dude. And Malakai says, why am I not having singles matches? I don't know. He fully admits, I have no idea. I didn't request all of these multi-man schmazes. Alls they have for me, he literally says, I think it's because they want House of Black to just do 6-man tags. He just said, alls they have for me is 6-man tags. That's what they want. So when they look at Malachi, that's the best they have. Meanwhile, and this is not shade to any of these dudes, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen Wheeler Yuta have a singles match. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Dancing Dugenheimer, Danny Garcia. That'll put some asses in seats. Danny Garcia have a I cannot tell you how many times I've seen Danny Garcia have singles matches. I can't tell you how many times I've seen dudes just show up to Dynamite out of nowhere because they're a name on the independents and they have singles matches. Meanwhile, Malachi can barely get booked on the show, and when he is, he's in a 6-man. That's why a lot of fans are questioning his booking, maybe even more so now than with World Wrestling Entertainment. Those are some telling words by Malachi. You can tell the dude's not that fond of his booking still a year after the original quotes he made, when he was much more angry even. But now he's had a month to just chill at home when Zelina is not with WWE traveling. But he gets to max and relax at home. He's probably a lot less stressed right now until he gets back on the road and starts doing one 6-man tag after another. But he knows you can only go so far with these 6-man tags, man, before you're booked straight into a wall and nobody cares. I told you guys from the beginning, I can't stand 6-man schmazes. It's a lazy way of booking in 2023. And it started years ago. You just throw a bunch of individuals in a 6-man tag. Every show basically has a 6-man tag. And it's just tornado basically. There's so much chaos. It's not pro wrestling. The selling takes a hit. Everything just is just out of whack. And it's just lazy. It's lazy booking. So what does AEW do? They come up with a trios championship. Yeah, they can't even get the tag team situation correct. I don't know if it's worse than WWE. I don't know what's worse than WWE's tag division, men and female. But AEW's is not much better. And then you say instead of spending the time to make this special, our tag team division, let's just add more quantity over quality. Let's add trios championships and have a trios division. How about you perfect your tag division first? How about instead of adding another show over Rampage, perfect Rampage. Get Rampage on track to the point where at least 750,000 people want to tune in consistently every week. But instead, as they're fuddling around with 300,000 and 200,000 viewers at times, they say, hey, let's bring a Saturday show on board. And that's been Tony Khan's one of his biggest issues, is more. Tony needs to relax, right? He's got 200 people on his roster. How about you cut that down to about 75, 90 and go from there? Cut out one of those shows, Rampage or Collision, have 2 for prime time. It took Vincent Kennedy years and years and years to have a Raw and a SmackDown show. Years. In less than 5 years, we have 3 primetime shows for AEW and an ROH to boot. A whole nother organization, basically. 4 different entities in less than 5 years. None of them can crack 1 million, most not even close. And you have a guy like Malachi there. So many names where we all said, oh man, if they ever leave WWE, man, they're going to be booked properly. Tony Khan's going to know what to do with them. Keith Lee's going to be a massive star. I can't even tell you what Keith Lee is doing these days. Malakai Black, you don't know when he's sitting at home, if he's injured, if he's just upset. Is he in catering? Is he on the roof? Is he in the boiler room? Is he at the local Home Depot? Is he playing in traffic, twiddling his thumbs? You don't know what he's doing ever because it's been inconsistent with people like Malachi since he got there. So it's almost like status quo. It's become the new normal. Malachi? We don't even remember the dude. I forgot he wasn't on the show. Most of you guys didn't even realize he was gone for the whole month. I know. Trust me, I know. It's sad, man. So Malachi is speaking up on that, and he says, I don't know, guys. I don't know why I'm not in singles matches. They just want me in 6-man tags, and that's a problem. Malachi is a bona fide star if booked by himself, and let this guy rock. And also, Hulk Hogan, man. Man, we were just congratulating Hulkster, right? Hulk Hogan just got married to, what's her name, Sky Daly? I know that sounds like a certain type of a name. I'm not going to get into it, guys. Hopefully she's a sweet girl, looks half the age of Hulk, but hey, what can you say, right? To each their own. As long as both are having the time of their fucking lives, that's all that matters, man. Hulk Hogan married again. Sky Daly looks half his age. I don't know, beautiful girl. But you know, some people come in and out of your life. That's just the way it is. And Hulk Hogan has a new wife. That is awesome. Unfortunately, it looks like he lost his daughter in the process. Brooke Hogan. Guys, listen to this. Brooke Hogan. I didn't know it was this strained. But Brooke Hogan just left a message. A lot of people saying, hey, you know, we didn't see you at Hulk's wedding. You weren't in any of the pictures. Is everything okay? So Brooke Hogan says this, and I quote, "As many of you know, I value my privacy, but unfortunately a lot of media outlets are making assumptions as to why I did not attend my father's third wedding. Instead of leaving it to speculation, I decided it's better to shut it all down here. As we all experience this with our own families, the dynamics of a family unit continuously change over the years. With that being said, my family has experienced a lot of change, with all of it happening in the public eye. I've had to learn how to best navigate those changes as they come, which has been difficult to say the least. For my own journey to healing and happiness, I have chosen to create some distance between myself and my family. I am now focusing on people and things that heal my heart and align with my own personal beliefs, goals, and values. But I do wish him well." With a heart emoji. Let me sum that up. She's saying, I no longer have anything to do with my father. That's what she's saying. That's sad, man. I still remember Hogan Knows Best, you know, this perfect family. Hulk Hogan, beautiful wife. He's got the kids, the promising futures, big old house, palm trees in the yard, and a big old yard. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, yeah, man, it's just crazy to think, like, you know, a little bit of time goes by and all of a sudden, you know, like your daughter's doesn't even want nothing to do with you. You know, so Hulk gets married. That's awesome. And then all of a sudden Brooke is like, you got to believe that Brooke is just not down with this new girlfriend. Sky Daly. I don't know man, is there an age on Sky Daly? I don't even know. Hold on. So you're looking at like 45 years old is Sky Daly. Okay. Well, what is Hulk Hogan then? Hulk Hogan's like 70 something, isn't he? Hold on. I got it. 45 years old for Sky Daly. Hulk Hogan's 70. So that's not half. 25 years younger though. That's an age gap, let me tell you. But again, to each their own. I mean, 45 years old. She is more than a grown adult. She can make her own big girl decisions. But when Brooke, I believe, is already 30 some odd, right? I think Brooke is 33, I want to say. 35. I was close. I'm trying to think like Hogan Knows Best. So 35 years old. So, I mean, Hogan's new wife is only 10 years older than Brooke. 10 years, man. So you got to believe for Brooke, it's weird, you know? And for Brooke and Nick, they saw their mother date a dude that was literally the age of Nick and Brooke, I believe. Do you guys remember that? The mom ended up dating he was like 20 years old or something. 20 was something. It was wild like that. I don't know. The Hogans are wild, bro. The Hogans are wild. But anyway, guys, we were just talking about Hogan and congratulating him on his wedding. And this Brooke thing just was in the last few hours, so it's actually making the rounds headline-wise. So I figured, you know, at some point we were going to have to discuss it. So anyway, we wish them all the best, man. You hate to see families break up dynamic like that. So hopefully one day they can have a Thanksgiving Day dinner and laugh at everything, right? Whoa, this life is so wild. The decisions we make, it's so stupid. Anyway, let's break bread together, right? Let's all share laughs. Hopefully they could do that, man. What else, man? I said this was supposed to be just a bonus amplification, right? This is literally going about 47. This is going as long nearly as the actual upload that we put up a few hours ago. How wild is that, man? But I am going to leave it at that. There's some other stories I would like to jump into, but I know that would be another 10, 15 minutes. And then we'd be longer than the podcast earlier. So there you go. There's your bonus amplification. Nearly the, as I'm breaking shit, there's your bonus amplification as basically another whole upload. You never know here on the channel, man. You never know. When BC has a lot of coffee, and I got the gift to gab and entertain. So when I'm talking about something like pro wrestling or my Green Bay Packers, the Knicks, the Yankees, be prepared. I could talk for a good hour, couple 2-3 hours, couple 2-3 days. Guys, until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.